Ladies and gents, welcome back. The Grand Q-tip himself, Cotton Schwab from the World Economic Forum, is at it once again, this time calling for the abolition of private property in the guise of fixing our ecological and economic issues in this day and age. He's calling for the end of private ownership of automobiles. Now let's get into, I have a plethora of articles talking about this. World Economic Forum calls to reduce private vehicles by eliminating ownership, in quotes. We have LifeSite. World Economic Forum calls for abolition of private vehicle ownership. Breitbart tuning in. World Economic Forum, ditch your car and save the planet. Why don't we just get into Fox Business here? World Economic Forum is looking to reduce global reliance on critical metals as nations look to make the transition to renewable energy supplies. One proposal is reducing ownership of private vehicles. Does this sound a little too you'll own nothing and you'll be happy? Well, it does to me, but hey, let's get into this. This transition from fossil fuels to renewables will need large supplies of critical metals such as cobalt, lithium, nickel, to name a few, and these ads are just going crazy. The forum said in a report earlier this month, shortages of these critical minerals could rise the cost of clean energy technologies. It's almost as if somebody predicted this before. Hey, if everybody moves to electricity, maybe the cost of electricity will go up. Maybe, do you think there's any sort of consequences to that? I don't know. Let's read more. The International Lobby Organization based in Switzerland has proposed 3 solutions for lowering costs of critical metals used in everything from cell phones and electric vehicles to wind turbines and efficient lighting. The forum noted that with recycling initiatives in place, mineral mining is expected to increase by 500% by 2050. That's a lot. That's a lot of what they call rare earth metals. Yeah, they're not rare. They're just very costly to mine, and it's they call it that because they don't come in concentrations. You have to mine vast areas to get them. The ecological damage of this type of mining is massive, and we're talking about saving the planet. And of course, thank you, Fox, for that one. Let's move on. Let's go right to the source. 3 circular economy approaches to getting rid of that article because it is just going to keep buzzing at me. 3 circular economy approaches to reducing demand for critical metals. This is right from the source, World Economic Forum's website. We need a clean energy revolution, they start off with, and we need it now, but the transition from fossil fuels to renewables will need large supplies of critical metals such as cobalt, lithium, nickel, to name a few. Hey, big nickel, Sudbury, shout out to all my miners out there, my brethren, wielding those miner wrenches. Anyway, to name a few, shortages of these critical minerals could raise the cost of clean energy technologies. Duh. The obvious route is to mine more virgin material, but this comes at a cost. It comes with its own cost and potentially unintended consequences. Wow, it's almost as if you're preaching to the choir here. Unintended consequences. Think about all these changes that the World Economic Forum wants to do with the world. Unintended consequences are about to hit main stage. Another solution commonly discussed is to recycle more and use metals already in circulation. The complication is that we do not currently have enough metals in circulation. And even with the recycling taken into consideration, mineral production is still forecast to increase by nearly 500%. So how do we proceed? A fully circular economy, their theories as they sit in their ivory towers, right, is much more than recycling. It is keeping materials at their highest value. It is time to look beyond circular materials. These three mindset changes can help reduce demand for critical metals. Why would we want to reduce demand? You reduce the demand, the price goes up, then people will see after recycling these things. Obviously, for an economic form, they don't know how the economy works. If the price of precious metals goes up, people are stealing your catalytic converters out of your cars. This is just normally a thing that happens when prices go up. If prices go up, people will start recycling phones. We've heard about urban mining. I can get into that another time if you'd like. But urban mining is basically what they've done with smelters where mines have dried up. They've taken the infrastructure and turned it into a new type of mining where they actually break down computers and electronics and things like that to get the metals back out of them. It's a pretty interesting way of doing things. Go from owning to using, and here's the crux of it, right? So they have a few different ones. Go from owning to using, enable preference for longevity, build pride in a second life. While these corporate overlords have been telling us, no, you need to throw away that car after 100,000 kilometers. Now they're saying we need to keep the things. We've been trying to do that as normal middle-class people for the longest time, but we've been encouraged by these corporate types to get rid of stuff. They've been doing this to us for a long time, and now they're turning around and saying, you're at fault. You guys need to shape up. To be honest, you likely have at least one old mobile phone tucked away at the bottom of a drawer. So your mobile phone is the problem. It's not the fact that we've designed a system where mobile phones will only last you. Wasn't it a court case in Canada that proved that they were throttling phones? Apple got sued, a class action lawsuit, because they were throttling cell phones for you to get fed up with how slow they became, so you'd go buy a new one. And they admitted that in a Canadian court and got sued for it. So yeah, the idea of planned obsolescence is a thing, but you're at fault because you have it in your drawer. Possibly an unused hard drive taking up space too. You aren't alone. All of you people are sinners in this new carbon economy. And the indulgences are real, my friend. The average car owner average car or van in England is driven just 4% of the time, while most already have a personal phone. 39% of workers globally have employer-provided laptops or mobile phones. This is not at all efficient. You need to have that taken away from you. More sharing can reduce ownership of idle equipment and thus material usage. Car sharing platforms such as GetAround and Blue SG have already seized that opportunity to offer vehicles where you pay per hour used. To enable a broader transition from ownership to usership, the way we design things and systems needs to change too. For example, car sharing is made possible by new keyless unlocking features. Similarly, user profiles that create a distinction for work and personal use on the same device is needed to reduce the number of devices per person. A design process that focuses on fulfilling the underlying need instead of designing for product purchasing is fundamental to the transition. This is the mindset needed to redesign cities to reduce private vehicles and other usage. I'll leave a link in the description down below, but this is sounding very eerily similar to when this is a member of parliament from Denmark who wrote an article for the World Economic Forum saying, "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing. I have no privacy, and life has never been better." And this is the opinion that these people have for our future and where they'd like to see the world going forward. I disagree. I think that we're going to have a problem with the commons when it comes to this shared economy and people sharing things. Equity is a big problem when it comes to the idea of who owns it. If nobody owns it, nobody takes care of it. Equitable things get taken care of, and that is just an economic fact. You can argue with me. Argue with me in the comments down below. If you disagree, let me know why you disagree. Why should everybody not own things, or tell me what you're going to do and what kind of gestures you're going to give to the overlords as they tell you you shall not own a car moving forward. I think car ownership is a staple for how how our economy works and how things go around. And well, in fact, I think that equity is the main issue here. They're going to remove equity. They're going to remove the incentive to take care of anything. We can go into shared economies, but we can't do it if it's not equitable. Anyway, that's all I've got for you this morning. We'll talk to you in the next video. Keep on trucking.